I'm going to keep this straightforward because the biggest question most of us have when we look at a piece of cardio equipment like this is whether it actually solves a problem we've run into, or whether we'll end up with another pricey machine that sits in the corner gathering dust. The ski trainer from Psnanka markets itself as an indoor way to get that carving feel you miss when the slopes are closed, and as someone who has tried to keep a winter sports routine going year-round, I get why the promise sounds appealing. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First, let's talk about the situation that usually drives a purchase. You're a hockey player or a skier who lives in a climate where snow isn't reliable, or you're a tennis player looking for a low-impact cardio session that still trains lateral stability. You've probably tried regular ellipticals, stationary bikes, or even running on a treadmill, only to feel that those motions don't really translate to the side-to-side weight shift that skiing demands. The fear is spending money on a machine that either feels gimmicky or, worse, doesn't hold up under regular use. That's the hesitation I wanted to test against. The first thing I noticed when setting this thing up was the paint finish. The surface has gone through an automobile-style paint process and an electrostatic coating baked at about 200 degrees. In plain English, that means the frame is resistant to the kind of scuffs you get from moving the unit around a garage or a basement. I had a small concrete slab under the machine, and after a week of daily use I hadn't seen any rust spots or flaking paint, which is something I've seen on cheaper steel frames that start to look like a rust bucket after a month. That durability isn't a flashy spec, but it's a quiet reassurance that the machine can survive a real home gym environment. Now, the heart of the trainer is its elastic rope system. Unlike a traditional belt drive, this model uses a high-strength multi-group elastic rope that's designed to mimic the tension you feel when you're actually pulling on a ski edge. The manufacturer lists 3 tension settings for different weight ranges: 2 root for 3,550 kilograms, 4 root for 5,095 kilograms, and 6 root for 95,120 kilograms. In practice, swapping the tension is as easy as moving a lever and pulling the rope tighter or looser. When I set it to the middle range, around 80 kilograms, the resistance felt smooth, and the rope snapped back quickly after each push, which is exactly the kind of spring back you want for simulating the quick edge changes on a slope. One of the practical strengths that shows up during a 10-minute training session is how quiet the pulley is. The unit's pulley is described as flexible, smooth, and ultra-quiet. I ran the trainer early in the morning while the rest of the house was still sleeping, and the only sound was a faint hum comparable to a refrigerator. That matters if you live in an apartment or share a space with someone who works from home. The quiet operation also means you can focus on the rhythm of your stride instead of being distracted by a noisy machine. The footboard angle is another design choice that distinguishes this trainer from a regular elliptical. The pedals follow a real ski posture, tilting inward to give you a stable centripetal force as you push. When I tried a typical side-to-side motion, the angle helped keep my knees aligned without the feeling of being forced into an unnatural gait. For athletes who need to practice that specific stance, like hockey players working on lateral push-offs or skiers fine-tuning their edge control, the angle provides a tangible benefit that generic cardio machines can't replicate. Now, let's get to the hidden trade-offs. The elastic rope system, while great for that ski-like feel, does have a learning curve. If you're used to a smooth belt drive, the initial stretch of the rope can feel a little bouncy, and you'll need to adjust your foot placement to avoid overextending. It's not a deal-breaker, but it means the first few sessions are more about finding your rhythm than burning calories. Also, because the resistance comes from the elasticity of the rope rather than magnetic or hydraulic mechanisms, you won't see the same incremental resistance steps you might get on a high-end elliptical. That can be a downside for someone who wants to dial in a precise wattage for interval training. Space is another practical consideration. The machine's footprint is roughly the size of a compact treadmill, but the frame's footboard extends a bit outward to accommodate the angled pedals. I placed it in a corner of my garage where I keep my weight rack, and it left about a foot of clearance on each side. If you're looking for a truly compact solution for a small apartment, you might need to measure carefully before committing. The unit does fold down slightly for storage, but the elastic rope and pulley assembly stay attached, so you're still left with a fairly solid piece of equipment. Who should buy this?